Y'all, I'm late. I'm late. I'm late. Let me see where we are. Let me see where I am. All right. All right. So sorry that I am late. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture to see how those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, if you are here, please hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Let me know that you stopped by. Y'all, there was a lot to go on today. Baby, there was a lot to go. Let me get in this stream. Whoo, can you see me? I just got off work, so I look a hot mess, but y'all love me anyway. I appreciate y'all. Whoo, y'all. Opening statements happened today. We're going to do things a little different today. We are going to just go through these tweets. I am not going to hold you long. There was a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of stuff going on. I do want to let you all know that we have a one of my followers was in the courtroom today. If you don't follow her, today was her first day doing something like this. So make sure you follow on Twitter, aka X. Let me see if I can pull it. Danny does law. She put some tweets up. Yeah, Danny does law on Twitter. She updates on her Facebook page, so you can go look and see those things too. So shout out to Danny for being in the courtroom. She got there at 7 a.m. I believe it was this morning. She was there bright and early. So shout out to Danny. Also shout out to Emily Palmer, court reporter there. Also shout out to Ben Cockman. I was looking at his stuff, and again Victoria Bekempis. Follow them. So Danny does law, right? Please follow Danny. She went in and uh she updated us some information. One of the things that she did update us on was the breakdown of the jury. She says there was one black woman. Let me read this off Facebook. She said the four-person is Hispanic woman. There's one Hispanic male, and she put in quotations in appearance. She said there are two Asian men in appearance, one white male, one black woman, and two white women. She says all appear under the age of 40 except for the Hispanic appearing male and black woman. All right. So we got an update on the jury and the jury makeup. Hey, Keita. Hey, Gray. Glad that y'all in here. You followed her. Yeah, I did too. She said she was going to go, and she kept her word that she was going to go. So let's get into these tweets, y'all. Let's get first of all, I'm gonna put this up really quick because I just got off work, and when I'm sleepy, I'm silly. But I did hear this. This is what I heard about on here. I did hear something about that, so let's go back. Let me pull up really quick. Again, I told y'all I need a producer. So first things first, I was glad to see that his family showed up. It looks like his family, his mother and his sister, and some other family members, plus Megan's mom was there. So I did like to see the fact that he had family there. Um, let's go. So we understand that opening arguments happened and the prosecution brought out a few things. One of the things that we heard was there was some video, excuse me, some audio about Jonathan Majors with his voice on it, explaining to Grace Jabari that something about he was a great man, and he needed for her to be his Coretta Scott King or his Michelle Obama. Now, when I looked through some of the tweets, Ben Cockman said that when he tweeted that out, excuse me, when he tweeted that out, there was no I think they were going into some objections and evidentiary stuff, but he didn't tweet back on whether or not that was allowed to be used. uh, the prosecution says that Grace Jabari has explained to them that there was past incidents of abuse, and she outlined some incidents of abuse, him throwing things at the wall, pulling some earphones out of her ear. They had acknowledged some past abuse. Again, I talked about the Coretta Scott King and the Michelle Obama incident. Um, they also talked about the text, and it said that they saw a text on his phone from someone named Cleopatra. I'm sorry, but y'all gonna have to let me get my giggle out. Said the tweet was by somebody whose code name in the phone named Cleopatra, and there was a song by D'Angelo, Lady, in there or something like that. Don't know anything about all that, but I'm just telling you what's yes. The text included a link to the 1995 D'Angelo song Lady and said, I wish I was kissing you right now. Ben Cockman also says that the driver of the black Escalade, according to the opening arguments of the prosecution, that was inside with his ex, will testify that Majors, quote unquote, threw Grace Jabari like a football back into the car after their violent March 25th encounter, prosecutors just said. Now, this is supposed to be ADA Perez. So apparently it's Galloway and Perez who are the prosecutors on this case. They said that they have evidence of his past abuse. Again, when I told you about the household items, throwing them at the wall, in which he yanked her headphones out of her ear. The DA's office also has a recording in which Major demands that Jabari live up to the standards of Coretta Scott King, MLK's wife. And according to this recording, that it says that Major says, I'm a great man, and we don't know. And he says, to be clear, this is not entered into evidence yet. So I don't know at this point if Danny has come in. Uh, did they enter? Hey, Danny, I see you here. Would you be willing to come up if I send you a link? And it's fine if you want to just keep telling us what's going on down here in the comments. I'd appreciate it either way. So we got that information. Then we got some information in regards to Priya Chaudhry's. Okay, okay. We've got some information to Priya Chaudhry. She says that Major was the one who emerged from the SUV. He was in with Jabari with injuries. He was scared of her and he ran off while she chased him through Manhattan streets. Within minutes, the bloodied person Major goes to the hotel to hide, and the other ones go clubbing for hours. This is what Chaudhry is presenting. Um, According to Ben Cockman, it says here, according to Ms. Chaudhry, we are not here because of what happened in the car. This is a case about the end of a relationship. The case is not about a crime, at least not one that Mr. Majors committed, she added. His lawyer's argument basically is that Jabari lied to cops and blamed Majors because she was upset about him breaking up with her, and that he canceled her miss to start a family with him. But Jabari will have the chance to tell the jurors her story. So let's see. I think that's all that he had. There was some video that Victoria put in. Victoria also noted that Miss Chaudhry in her fashions. I saw Mr. Majors come in. He looks like a Black Panther with his beret and his all black on. Let's see. According to Victoria Bekempis, I'm just trying to read something that she said something different than what he said. Okay, Victoria Bekempis stated that the general gist of the defense was that lawyer Priya Chaudhry insisted that Majors was the victim and did not shy away from implying the case was racially biased, which she had implied before. She noted that Jabari's blonde hair and fair face didn't show evidence of abuse. All right. Let's see what you all are saying. Let me see. Let's see real quick. Hold on, y'all. All right. So, Danielle, I want you to check your Twitter in about maybe 30 seconds. I'm going to send this invite to you. You don't have to be on camera. And then I'm going to start reading your tweets. Hold on, y'all. I told y'all. All right. All right. Check your Twitter now, Danny. All right. Let me read some of you all's tweets. Uh, One thing I see somebody up here mentioning about Megan. One of the things that I want to say about that, I don't know what happened today. This is just my only criticism. Is I really didn't like her attire today. The first day of trial, I would have loved for her to have dressed like she dressed yesterday. That disco go-go suit she had on today, I was not feeling that today. That's my criticism of that. Uh, hey Greg, what y'all laughing at? Hey Dre, hey Cat. Let's see what's going on. Who else we got? When I saw his family showed up, I thought to myself, I bet he saw. I bet he did. That audio sounds incredibly irrelevant. We're gonna hear from it. If Danny comes up, we definitely gonna see what she says about that. Let's see. What else would you save Megan's numbers at? It's my understanding that Cleopatra is not Megan, chill. Cleopatra is not Megan. Cleopatra, chill. All right. Let's add. Hey, Danny.
Hey.
Oh, I'm so happy and proud of you. You got all that courage to go down there and to go into the courtroom. I wanted to ask a few questions of you just to get your input because you are a casual viewer like we are and just give us
Hmm.
information. So first of all, how was it? How easy or how difficult was it to get in and out of the courtroom?
Okay, it was super easy. I think I sent you a video of myself when I got there.
Yeah.
I I'm so tired because I'm literally running on 2 hours of sleep because I was so stressed out last night into early this morning because I was like, okay, what if I go to the wrong place? What if when I get there I don't know what part? Because I don't know if you know, but in New York they have about 50 different trial parts. So like it might be part A, part B, part LCK, and then in this case it's part jury 4. So
Mm.
I didn't know what part, what floor, what. I really I hyped myself up to the point where I only got 2 hours of sleep. I actually
Wow.
took the bus to the courthouse because it was the easiest way to get there from where I'm staying in Harlem, which is where I'm from.
Okay.
And I got there at about 7, maybe 7:30ish. Nobody
Okay.
was outside, but the courthouse was open. So I went to the security guy. Very nice people. I thought for sure they were going to be jerks. He was like, "Well, the courthouse doesn't open till 8:15, so you got to go back outside and wait." So I waited for 45 minutes. Got back inside, metal detector, went through. I was like, "Well, what floor is Jonathan Majors?" They were like, "Fifth floor." Went up to the fifth floor. I was the only one up there with the sketch artist and a camera guy and maybe one other media person. And we just
Okay.
sat there because when I went on the website at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out what time, it said 9 a.m. on the docket. But apparently it's not until 10 a.m. So I was there
Mm.
way too early. Yeah, way too early because I was nervous that there was going to be a line wrapped around the block. But it
Right.
turned out that as far as regular spectators like myself, there might have been four. Everybody else was reporters, and then a good chunk was his family. So his mom was there, his sister was there, a woman that was walking next to the mom that looks like the mom. I'm guessing that was her sister. Megan was there. A few of her friends were there. Um, and then some other people because he actually went through the get. I was in the third row. They were in the first two rows.
Okay.
He went through both rows and kissed everybody. I was like, "What about me, boo?" No, I was like, "You got one more kiss to go. What's going on?" Because honestly, I was the only one in that row that he did not know. So it was
Yeah.
almost like he looked at me like, "Well, who the heck is this?" But yeah, I found that. I mean, he's as beautiful in person as he is on TV. He and she look exactly the way they do on TV.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
I was a little weirded out about the outfit as well because first of all, it was 45 degrees today, and it was really cold in the courtroom as well because they had the windows cracked. Because another thing about New York and bigger cities that have really old buildings, the heat is oppressive. It's radiant heat, and so you literally have to open your windows in the dead of winter just to get some air. And
Okay.
so they had the windows cracked in the courtroom, and so it got a little chilly in there. Um, and until I asked them initially to close it, and then the judge was like, "Yeah, y'all got to close the windows because there was a lot of construction outside, and we could barely hear the opening arguments from the
Oh,
state."
well,
Yeah, it was so
started
noisy.
since you started that with the opening arguments, talk about the opening arguments. Who who started it? Was it Galloway or Perez? And what was your overall uh give me your overall feedback about the opening arguments, and then I'm going to ask you that same question about the defense and their opening arguments.
Okay, so Galloway is just a sidekick. She's not, even though she's on the paperwork, she's not really doing anything, and I don't think she knows what she's doing. She's really young. I wouldn't give her older than maybe 25. Very young
Okay.
girl. Based on records that Flavio pulled up, she just started like maybe 2 years ago, if that, if memory serves. So she's fresh out the kitchen. Um, so the main guy was doing all the talking. I the impression I got is, and this is not me being biased because I'm a Jonathan Majors fan and pro black and everything else.
Right.
My thing, I'm looking at it as an impartial legal professional because I am a litigation paralegal.
Okay.
Um, I'm looking at it as okay, so I don't know if you guys know, and I don't know if you mentioned it, but they also reminded the jury as well. Opening arguments are not considered evidence. It cannot be considered in the deliberations. So they can basically say anything they want, and the jury cannot consider it when it's time to deliberate. They can
Okay.
say anything that they want. They can even say things that they might not even be able to present as evidence ultimately throughout the trial. But they know if they plant a seed, human
Mhm.
nature is going to always prevail. The judge
Right.
can say all day, you cannot consider these opening arguments are just, part of the process. You cannot consider anything that they say in your deliberations. This is not evidence. You can say that till you're blue in the face. But if I'm a juror and I hear something that's going to be confirmation bias for something I'm already feeling about the defendant, I'm going to keep
Mhm.
that in mind, right?
Okay.
So in my mind, they went above and beyond to try to make Jonathan Majors out to be a sociopath because everything that they said made him sound like the most sociopathic, depraved man. And I mean, he sounded like, I mean, and this is stuff that men do. So it's not
Mhm.
like, this is some unique thing that he was doing that, it's like they tried to make him out to be like a ladies' man, a philanderer, a um basically well, they said it, but I'm paraphrasing it. They basically said he sent that same text to two women with that D'Angelo song. Um, they said that they, the whole, I refuse, and I will not, for each time that I come, I'm not publishing or posting anything negative in terms of substantiating what they're saying. That whole thing with the Michelle Obama and Coretta Scott King made absolutely no sense. So, but they said they have an audio recording of it, so I'll wait to hear it. But I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
getting.
Let me stop you. Let me stop right there. So they didn't play an audio recording of it. They just mentioned that they had a recording of
They
this.
said they have it. And it was
Okay.
really startling to me because the entire time that they're saying all this inflammatory stuff, the defense did not object to any of it. So that scared me a bit.
Mhm.
And full disclosure, I got watery eyed and combination between anger and sadness because I was right behind Jonathan Majors, 3 rows behind him.
Mhm.
And when they started saying all of that stuff, and I wanted so bad to tap somebody to tell them to tap him. And actually, I'm probably going to send that email tonight because I meant to email it because I am in contact with the attorneys and the paralegal because of the fan club that we run with that Flavio is in.
Okay.
And every time they said something like that with the video, the audio, the pictures that they claim they have of when he was throwing a whole bunch of stuff at the wall and breaking up stuff during one of their altercations. They claim they
Mhm.
got pictures of that. Um, he sank lower and lower in the seat.
Hmm.
And when I
Okay.
say it, and and he's in view of the jury. And I wish I could put my camera on because I'm very animated and you could probably see more, but I'm looking a mess. But
Mhm.
when I say it was, I mean, it just took so much out of me because it's like, it felt like it was somebody that I was related to. And he just, I mean, it got to the point where he was damn near under the table and
Mm.
looking down. Yeah. And I don't, and I'm not saying I don't think that's an indication of guilt, but I do think
Mhm.
it's an indication of shame
Right.
because a lot of what he was bringing up, his mom probably did not know about.
Okay.
This is
You're
a
talking about
34-year.
88 Perez?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure his mom didn't know about any of that. That's a 34-year-old man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm positive Megan Good did not know about any of that stuff. So,
Right.
when Priya got up and said her stuff,
Mhm.
she basically said that. She was like, this is I'm paraphrasing, but this is embarrassing stuff. This is not stuff you want your mom to know. You know. Um so I think him, sinking in the seat, looking down, kind of slouching cuz at first he was upright. He's very confident.
Mhm.
I think it was more like because his mom was there, his aunt was there, his sister was there, and there was a few other people in their 50s and 60s that were in these are grown adults that don't
Right.
know about his relationship life between, him and females. So
Right.
I think he was embarrassed. It was humiliating. It would have been humiliating to anybody. And we haven't even heard or seen it yet. So imagine when it's time for them to actually present it.
Right.
Um yeah, it shook me, and I'm not even it's not even my trial, but I just felt it because I'm like, oh my God. And then this is me hearing it for the first time. So I'm like, oh damn, like what like what's going on here? And then Priya's not objecting. So I'm like, oh shit, she knows about it and she's okay. So I'm just like, oh man.
Well, tell us about her opening arguments. What were some of the key points that she put out, or she was continuing to talk about in her opening arguments? What did she say?
Okay, so her main thing was, like you said before I came on, her main thing was because the stuff that the prosecution is talking about having evidence on is from a year, 2 years ago. It has nothing to do with what happened on March 20, whatever, of
Fifth.
2023.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Right.
stuff from September 2022, you know what I mean? Way, a year ago that
Okay.
they're just trying to use to basically speak to his character and nothing
Okay.
else. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like
Okay.
you said, she basically was trying to basically rein everybody back in and say, okay, let's focus on this. And she insinuated that this is all going on because of Cleopatra and this text and this text message, that was sent. um she made sure that she emphasized the fact that Grace ran after him for about 5 minutes in the middle of oncoming traffic, almost got hit by a car, basically chipping away at that whole I was injured thing. She made sure that she mentioned the fact that when he got home from staying a night at the hotel, she basically was like, he went to a hotel, she went out clubbing. She racked up
Okay.
a big bill on, alcohol for the people that she ran into at Lafayette Street. She When she was found, he had to get, someone in the building to let him in his bedroom where she was found without um she was naked from the waist down.
Okay.
When they found her. So I was like, she was. And she said
Mm.
19 times that she did not know how she was injured. Um,
Okay.
so my thing is, you're naked from the waist down. It's clear that she was not injured in any of the surveillance that's been produced thus far.
Okay.
What
You know,
happened? Uh-huh.
well, I wanted to ask you something about that because there was I noticed that there was you all were able to get one witness to come on the stand.
Yes, because there was a point where Jonathan, it seemed like he was going to the bathroom because one of the court officers came to get him out because they have like a stanchion type thing where they have to unhook it and let them out.
Mhm.
Um, so he came to get him after he checked the hallway to make sure but nobody was out there. And he left. He went what appeared to look like he was going to the bathroom because Megan looked like she was trying to get up and go with him. And he was like, nah, stay. He kind of gestured to her to not come with him. And he left.
Okay.
And Grace was in the courtroom at that time. This was after lunch. Grace was there with her mom and what appeared to be her brother. No other supporters on her side. Um,
Okay, wait a minute, stop. I'm looked at. So she was she's supposed to be a witness. I thought witnesses couldn't be in the courtroom while the trial was going on. So she was in the courtroom herself?
She was there. I mean, the reporter I looked at her because I asked the reporter, is that her? And I kept looking, and then she finally stood up, and I got a good look at her face, her body. I
Mhm.
was like, okay, yeah, that's her. I think she was supposed to at some point come up. I don't know what happened, but the whole thing is when Jonathan left to go to the bathroom, he didn't come
Mhm.
back for a good 5 or 10 minutes. So I was joking to myself. I was like, did he have to go take a shit? But then Priya got, yeah, because I'm like, what's taking him so long to come back? And because I kind of befriended a reporter with ABC News here in New York because we have a mutual reporter friend. And
Mhm.
Then Priya got up and went behind him, and then she didn't come back. So about 20 minutes went by because we thinking he went to the bathroom, he's gonna come back, that the witness is gonna testify. About 20 minutes went by, 30 minutes went by. Then Grace and her family left. Another
Okay.
10 minutes went by. And then they came back, but they didn't, Grace and them didn't come back.
Okay.
Then but come to find out, it was because they were trying to come to a conclusion and an agreement on that all that video surveillance that the DA ended up compiling into a compilation video.
Okay.
They came to a consensus of what what to take out, what to keep in, how to because they didn't want it presented the way that the DA had, because the first witness was the guy that works for the DA as a digital he's a digital what's his title?
Editor or something like that.
Yeah, I'm about to post that next. But he works for the
Okay.
DA's office, and that's his
Okay.
job. His job is to compile all the digital evidence, and he uses, because that earlier in the morning, the question from the judge was, because the defense was like, no, the way that they edited this is not something that a layperson could do. They were basically trying to sensationalize all the video by repeating a lot of parts over and over again and speeding up some things, slowing some things down. And that was the
Okay.
defense's argument. And then the judge asked them, they were like, well, he's like, I'm not computer savvy. So is this something that I could do? And I actually teach Adobe Premiere and Adobe Photoshop, and I'm shaking my head, absolutely not, because I'm like, that's not something a layperson could do. And that's what the defense was saying. They were like, no, you cannot. You are not capable of sitting on your computer and being able to do this whole, you know, so that's what they came to the conclusion of after lunch. And that's why they
Okay.
all left, but they just never said anything. So when they finally came back, it was 3:17. As you know, court adjourns at 4. They
Okay.
finally put the guy on the stand. Young guy, he can't be much older than 21, 22. Well, at
Okay.
least he looks it anyway. Um, and so basically at that point, the prosecution was basically asking, what's your job? The typical da 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 questions. When the
Okay.
defense came up, the defense basically sought to have him verify that his employer deliberately had him omit certain parts, because he was like, yeah, you show where Grace is in the club, but you're not showing her dancing in the club. Did the DA tell you to cut that part out? Yes, they did. Asking him questions like that. And
Okay.
then it got to the point where the defense, because basically this kid's whole thing was, my job is to get whatever was on Mr. Majors's iPhone, get whatever, surveillance. The main thing when the questions came up about everything that he got off of Jonathan Majors's iPhone, he was like, okay, so what information do you get? You get the the geography information. You
Mhm.
get the metadata. He was like, well, what is metadata? Metadata is basically now on the new iPhones, because Jonathan had an iPhone 14 Pro Max. So on the
Okay.
new iPhones, when somebody sends you a picture, you can click on it and you'll see all the details. Where it was taken, what type of phone it was taken on, day, time, um, all that information. That's the metadata, right?
Right.
So they were seeking to establish, by asking him those questions, the next thing that they were going to do. And so what they did was they entered into evidence. And the crazy thing is, this is stuff that the jury could not see yet. So a couple of times when he first whipped out the first picture, I was able to see that first picture looked like the picture of Jonathan with that scratch on his face. So they were trying to establish with this employee of the DA's office that he was just picking and choosing what he saw on that iPhone and on that cloud drive. So he
Mm.
basically handed this guy a bunch of pictures, basically showing the first. I saw the first picture because the judge had to tell him, basically, in not so many words, cover that up, because they didn't want the jury seeing that yet.
Okay.
Because the judge's frame of thinking is, let another witness come up where we need to present that stuff on, to everyone. But as you're interrogating him, they cannot see this. All you're doing is giving him these documents, these pictures with the metadata information attached to it, um, and having him verify that those are pictures that he saw on that iCloud. So what ended
Wow.
up happening is, this kid, he's slick. He um he saw the picture. He was like, "Yes, I recognize that picture." Then he would flip the page. Each picture was a total of five, so it was a picture and then 4 pages underneath it. The picture,
Okay.
the next page was the metadata. The page after that was the geolocation, and then it was a couple of other pages. Every time he got to the geolocation, he played dumb, because he kept saying, "Oh, well, all the pictures when I downloaded everything was in Pacific time and I had to convert everything to Eastern time." So every time he handed him a picture, the lawyer had to say, I mean, the defense lawyer had to say, this was Zuckerman. Um, he had to say, "Okay, so it was this time Pacific, this time Eastern, right?" Right. But then when he got to the geolocation page, "Well, I can't confirm. I can't." So everything that the defense handed him was
Right.
still up in the air by the time we adjourned. So when we adjourned and the jury left the room, the judge said, "Well, come tomorrow before we start. You guys need to talk to him, revisit those exhibits, and make sure that he's clear on what's what." Because the defense made sure to say, "Well, you did have access to all this stuff since before the trial started, did you not?" "Yes." "So why are you unable to verify only parts of information on these same images?" Right? Because this is his job. So I don't know if they're trying to um set the stage for the where, the when, the how of when things popped off, because remember, they were trying to say um that Jonathan only released his pictures as retaliation, and I think
Hmm.
they're trying to prove that these pictures existed, you know what I mean, at the time
Right.
of the incident. So it's not
Correct.
retaliation, it really happened. But
Right.
you know what I mean, I guess, nobody was expecting the table to turn on him. He's the one that called the cops to try to save her. You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Right.
of course, if you're not expecting the table to turn on you, you're not going to try to get her arrested. And
Right.
plus, all along, he's probably thinking, okay, the state is prosecuting because they have to, it's the law, but she's probably not going to cooperate. And then lo and behold, she starts cooperating.
Right.
So now
So,
I have to, you know what I mean?
yeah. Let me ask you this. Let me to get back. So, just to kind of summarize what you've said to me is that when they put their first witness on, who was the digital analyst, and thanks Kat for
Mm-hmm.
that, he had compiled this video, this
Per
beautiful video,
per
and
their
he
instruction.
per the prosecution
DA's
instruction,
right. Mm-hmm.
and everything highlighted made the accuser in a highlighted way, and made Mr. Majors seem like the
So
bad person.
so
Explain it again.
basically, what all the videos that they made a compilation of was all the surveillance videos that most of us have already seen. The
Okay.
club, there's obviously other stuff we haven't seen, because I think I just posted that there are several addresses, exhibits A through H,
Okay.
several addresses where they got additional surveillance footage. And so Priya was saying that one of those surveillance footages is showing her running after him and him outrunning her for about 5 minutes. For about 5 minutes. So there's a parking lot, Mark Hotel. There's a Mark Hotel surveillance. There's Lucy's exhibit. I mean surveillance. There's Chelsea, the Chelsea Mercantile, Walters. There's a lot of surveillance that we have not seen. 201 Canal Street, 168 Center Street, Park Fast, which is a parking lot, and then the one 28 Lafayette Street. That's the one that where she met those people, and the guy was calling himself approaching Jonathan Majors. Um, there's a lot more surveillance that we haven't seen yet. And so basically, it was a compilation of all those surveillance videos, and the defense was clear in saying that they are motion detect. Most of them are motion sensitive surveillance cameras.
Okay.
Um, so they compiled all those videos, but what they did was instead of just having it kind of like a slideshow or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
they kind of sensationalized it where he said they were repeating certain things over and over. He didn't say which video was being repeated, but it was almost like you're trying to keep that image in the jury's mind. And the
So
judge
they
agreed that that was not appropriate.
so they was looping it like a bad porn movie, huh?
Right, right. They kept right, exactly. They kept looping what I'm thinking and what the judge is thinking was the most egregious video of them all. And
Okay.
then would speed up and slow down other ones. And then they had the guy annotate some of it with arrows and maps and a whole bunch of stuff. And so they were like, no, we're not doing this. And so they
Right.
basically agreed to pull out certain things and also to possibly just present the videos one by one instead of all crammed together because they're not in context. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because there was stuff cut out that
Right.
the jury would need to see. Like, for example, you show her at the club, but you're not showing her dancing. And they said
Got
she
you.
did a whole dance where she was spit. Somebody was using her arm to spin her around and everything.
Got you. Because I know that
Yeah,
I know with some of the video that leaked earlier, there was one video, and I didn't know if it was a looping or not, or I would be interested to know if they play that club video. Because you remember there was some video that showed her bopping her head on the DJ thing, the DJ
the
booth.
booth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could never make that video out. So I'm hoping that they
Yeah,
just enhanced it because I still don't see. I couldn't see it.
yeah. I
But
was
that's
curious about
definitely going to
that.
be one of the videos.
Mm, mm,
Because
mm.
it has to be all of the videos, all of the surveillance.
Right. So
Hmm.
Danny, I appreciate you so wholeheartedly for getting up and taking your time to do that because I'm gonna make sure you get to bed and get you some sleep. Were you planning on go? Were you planning on going tomorrow, or
Oh
today was
yeah, I'm
just the day?
going. I'm going tomorrow and Wednesday. Then I have to go back
Okay,
home. But then I'm gonna if it continues into next week, I'm gonna come back. I'm not sure which day, but I'm definitely planning on being there for deliberations, if no other day.
okay,
Um, but I feel like today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, I'll be able to get enough because starting tomorrow, they're actually all witnesses now. Today was all, and then I also have to let you know the judge definitely. I don't know if anybody in the mainstream media reported it, but because I haven't been paying attention, and I overheard some things that was appalling from some of those
mm,
reporters.
okay,
Um, the judge reamed both sides out for primarily the prosecution for handing them that evidence at 5 p.m. on Sunday, that compilation video. But he got with the defense as well because they tried some last minute okey doke stuff too with the text messages. Um,
okay,
he reamed them out and he said, this will not happen again. I do not want this to happen again. He kept apologizing to the jury. Um, and he reamed them out. He was like, don't let this happen again. Because
mm-hmm.
it did eat up about 3 hours of the day. Because
Wow,
they had to literally go back and edit stuff, cut stuff out, put stuff on USB drives, re-enter it into evidence. It was just a mess. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it was a mess. And so now that we got the first witness on the stand, it's just going to be witnesses now.
Okay.
So I'm feeling like with a 6 hour day, they could knock out a lot between tomorrow and Wednesday.
Okay.
Um, so hopefully, I mean, it'd be nice if they got a verdict by Friday, in which case I can't make it. But I
Mhm.
just want our boy off this hook because this is crazy.
Wow.
It's really crazy. But Grace is definitely going to be testifying.
Okay.
I need to actually verify if that was her, but that lady that was there looked exactly like her. So
Hmm.
unless she has a twin or a sister
Mhm.
that looks really a lot like her,
Mhm.
um, but I feel like I really feel like in my heart of hearts that was her. So
Okay.
unless she's not testifying after all, I really don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I wouldn't if I was her. But hey, you know.
Well, we will definitely see. I know Chill had asked earlier what color was her hair.
Blonde.
Woman,
That's another
it was.
thing that I made a note of because the reporter that I ended up befriending,
Mhm.
um, I told her, I said, her hair looks the way it does in the beginning. So I'm quietly confident that when she turned herself in, that was a brown wig. That was
Mm.
not her actual hair. Because, obviously on Caucasians, wigs look more realistic than they do on us. So,
Mhm.
and then,
Mhm.
it was quick. It's not like we were staring her down.
Right.
I think she wore a brown wig to kind of not be standing out because in the courtroom today, she looked exact. That's why I'm positive that was her because she looked
Okay.
exactly how she's been looking all along.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, I'm gonna tell you. You have given us some great insight, and I really do appreciate you popping on and letting us know this information. We're going to see you in the courtroom tomorrow, and maybe you can pop back on to give us your opinion about what's going on, what else is going on. Is there anybody in the chat that has one or two questions for Danny? Because I'm going to end this live stream because we've been on here over 45 minutes. If no one has any questions, going once, going twice. All right. Y'all, that is the end of this show. Please hit that like button. There's 36 of you all in here. I want 36 thumbs up because we have gotten some inside information that provided by Danny. We thank you so much, Danny, for providing this information. Uh, and as always, people, I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream. There's no questions. Good. All right, make sure you get that up button. Make sure you tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And I will be back here tomorrow to do the same thing on this trial watch. Again, thank Danny. Danny Does Law. She has a Twitter page, Danny Does Law. Y'all follow that. Also, she has a Facebook page that you all need to be following. We are small YouTubers, and let's follow each other and support each other. All right, people. And as always, bye bye.